Hello, I'm Kalpana Singhal, founder and chief editor, CXO TV, a flagship brand of Tech Plus Media, and I welcome you all to the discussion on decision intelligence and optimization across your enterprise and ecosystem. So, what is this decision intelligence all about? Decision making intelligence uses AI and compiled data to improve a business's decision making process. The data and predictive models let you make quicker and more accurate business decisions. Instead of making choices based on gut feelings, decision intelligence allows you to optimize plans through the valuable insights. Therefore, to understand why and how companies are harnessing the power of decision intelligence, we have with us very special guest Jagdish Mitra, Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Growth, Tech Mahindra, to this very interesting opening discussion for the second edition of the Data Intelligence Summit and Awards. A very warm welcome to you, Jagdish.
Thank you. Thank you, Kalpana.
So, Jagdish, let me start with something which, wherein the organization can actually relate themselves with, with the present scenario, wherein with the limited visibility on when things will stabilize due to factors such as the pandemic, overall macroeconomic scenario like inflationary pressures and war. What are the three major challenges businesses are facing as they try to build resilience?
Kalpana, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's something that actually is on every businessman, every corporation's top of the mind. There is a lot of uncertainty, especially over the last 2 years. First the pandemic, then the war, and the impact on supply chain, etc., etc. So if you look at the major challenges that businesses face today, these have resulted into the last 2 years have resulted into a large amount of whole sort of new paradigm that's shifted in terms of way the businesses are being done. So for example, employee engagement, customer engagement as a paradigm has completely shifted. It is no longer the old method of people sitting in front and talking. It's remotely, it's always on, 24 by 7 type of a paradigm. Second, your supply chain has got changed because you had a whole different set of fixed form of supply chain that's got, once it's got broken because of the pandemic. Second, it's got again broken because of the war. Third, because of trade issues between USA and China. So you've got this whole environment of supply chain that's got disrupted. The third is obviously, which I think is a little more closer to heart for technology companies, is the impact of technology. Technology has brought together some amazing challenges to businesses because it's allowed now competition to catch up on a very different footing, in the sense they don't need to go through the same life cycle. They'll probably be able to compete with each other if they are able to leverage the technology better. So to me, the three big challenges that businesses face today are ability for them to be able to engage employees and customers, which is a big challenge because the challenge is now becoming a lot more virtual. So there is no physical, not a large amount of physical. How do they handle that? Second, as I said, supply chain related challenges because there is disruption and breaking through of the supply chain in different markets, geos, and so on and so forth. And third is the speed at which digital technologies are getting adopted. I think these are the three key challenges that businesses face today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, that the digital transformation era has come up with the countless innovations for businesses to explore, and the pandemic has demonstrated the need for companies to adapt and accelerate their adoption of emerging technologies. So, and this is a kind of a scenario where we can see that pandemic is far from over, and the world is grappling with various other disturbances. So, according to you, what are the trends which will redefine the face of digital transformation of the next couple of years?
See, I think Kalpana, technology overall will obviously play the bigger role in digital transformation. It's very difficult to pinpoint at the speed at which technology transformation is happening, which will play the most critical role. But I can name a few that I can see or we can see as businesses and consumers. Mind you, the consumers and the businesses are not different because what a B2B company does ultimately goes to a consumer. So what we offer to a customer in our B2B role is most of the times B2B2C, like a car manufacturer or a telecom company. They in the end give products and services to end customers who consume it. So the technology trends impact them both all, and obviously the government as well. So the top trends that I can see that are impacting, the most important part of this is adoption of SaaS. The software as a service paradigm with the focus on cloud as a very critical developmental tool, expansion tool, cost cutting tool, and a rapid deployment of tool. Cloud has become almost ubiquitous with those three differences or differentiations that business look for. So if cloud has to succeed, then it has obviously got to succeed if there are applications on cloud. So software as a service has become almost critical for a technology impact that will redefine it in a much bigger way. India actually is sitting on a gold mine of the knowledge that it has of its business process, the technical knowledge that it has built across the number of years of understanding processes, and therefore solutions that they have delivered. The opportunity for India to be a leader on SaaS is tremendous, but globally, SaaS is a big number one for me that's got a huge opportunity. Second, I think, is the issue of connectivity, which is where we see 5G now. You heard about 5G being rolled out in India. It's been globally being done location by location, by city. And that could have or will have definitely the biggest impact on businesses, on how they leverage 5G to deliver efficiency, productivity, and new products and new markets. I mean, the idea of being able to reach out to a market through the enablement of 5G enabled applications in the world of metaverse or by leveraging other Web3 technologies is just mind boggling. You can almost do unimaginable stuff in terms of getting in front of the customers and in front of your associates, colleagues, etc. The
Yeah.
technology that the technology I think that will make a huge difference also along with this is AI. So we've all heard and talked about AI, but we are now seeing the issue of applied AI, and that has got to be a big differentiator. Finally, I would say a technology that would make a huge impact on our livelihood, on our way we live, is sustainable tech. So the whole world around sustainability and tech around sustainability is going to become almost mandatory, almost not a tick in the box because you need to get some certificate, but definitely something which is important for you to be able to be a sustainable business yourself and for its impact on P&L. So these would be my picks, Kalpana, for the technologies that would impact digital transformation.
Yeah, fantastic. So I think you have covered all the technologies which are really trending these days. All right. So, like you were telling that adopting these technologies, wherein actually organizations are finding difficulty coping up with the disruption that technology is creating. So, decision intelligence is something coming back to our topic. So, decision intelligence engineering can seem complex to those unfamiliar with the process. So, please tell us how to get started with decision intelligence.
I think the best practices to drive this in terms of the decision making and the work that's happening in that area is the whole area of looking at saying, how do we first start to look at how to collect data, right? And make sure that data is collected and stored in a manner which is easily retrievable, and therefore the ability for people to be able to leverage the use of data. So the areas that one needs to look at, and organizations need to structure their organizations around those. First is remove redundancy, so that you can take, because if you have 3 points of data, what database decision will you take? This data will you believe, or this data you'll believe, or the other data? So you have to make sure that your data points are a single source of truth, and there's a single point of truth. You don't have single sources of truth depending on who's looking for the truth. So redundancy removal is critical. Second is diversity of responses, to be able to make sure that your data, especially because you are AI based analytics, you don't get any biases. If you have only one set of data points that you're collecting, then you're likely to get a bias on the analytics that you're driving. So you're going to try and look at that. Third is the modularity in terms of allowing people to be able to allow individual elements to fail without the whole system collapsing. You need to be able to take bits and pieces of it and plug and play type of an environment so that your architecture is built in such a manner for your systems that it can be taken in a modularity way. But the most important part is really about adaptability. How do you make sure that people are adapting to it? And that's a key element through a trial and error method, and it requires a certain level of variance of diversity. Processes and structures in adaptive organizations are designed for flexibility and learning rather than its ability to, for example, ability to or minimal variance. So when you are allowing your systems to be able to take the variance from different sources and manage it, then your systems will become a lot more relevant for the future, rather than being very rigid and siloed and make sure that this is the only way that it works. So these would be my four suggestions as what people should do in terms of database decision making and making it a practice in an organization.
Yeah, so you have very well explained the major components of decision intelligence and how do decision models work. So you mentioned about 5G. So organizations are now considering data as oil for growth, and as the 5G launch is likely to escalate our capabilities to collect data, where do we stand today in organizing and processing the collected data for decision making?
Listen, 5G has a big role to play. Will enable the use of technology that yet has not been seen in either of these. Higher speeds, lower latency, network slicing. These are terms that we have used so frequently as 5G was being, 5G was on its way. Now we are trying to see that how they apply. So it will impact in various areas, whether across supply chains, across e-health, for example, or the connected cars, any of this. The Internet of Things will continue to expand the 5G promise. Now, the role of data in business decisions is to demonstrate a vision of what a company using to do to make decisions looks like in reality. So you have to make sure your data point that I talked about in the previous response are aligned with those. Lack of bias, single source of truth, systems that are flexible and modular, and systems that are actually giving you agile and is giving people the sense that it is something that listens to them and keeps changing rather than being rigid. In that whole world, organizing and processing the collecting the data for decision making is critical. So I would suggest that that approach helps to clarify the mission statement. It also gives technologies like AI and machine learning more understandability in the broader community, so that they don't sort of have doubts that is it for my favor or is it following someone else's goal to make the changes that we're looking at. So Kalpana, from 5G is going to, like they say, is only going to humongously multiply the volume of data that gets thrown to you. Because the more the better connectivity, the better ability to lower latency, and so on and so forth, your consumption of data will keep on increasing. Applications that actually get built on it will keep on increasing. So obviously, we will consume more, businesses will consume more, there'll be a lot more data. But if you follow that data discipline methodology, your ability to take decision making based on that will become way more better.
Yeah. So just to add to what you explained, I would like to add that companies also need a deep understanding of decision frameworks in terms of business value. So, I mean, IT teams running these models must understand organizational objectives and implement best practices for decision making.
No, absolutely. They will, at the end of the day, the IT teams will play a very critical role in terms of understanding where decision data stores lie, and the fact that how they can be used to be provided to do. We hear a lot about things of predictive, right? The big value of analytics and AI coming together and the single source of truth is how fast and how better can you predict future. That's where businesses are looking forward to saying, hey, listen, tell me what do I need to do to what my future of my business looks in 3 to 6 months time. Data can tell you, and the analytics behind that will tell you. The next step on it is what steps one needs to take to be able to address any gaps or any challenges that the future is being shown by data.
Yeah. So we can understand like silo data and silo decisions and silo mentality, is in today's highly interconnected business ecosystem, it can't work. So how businesses can overcome these data hurdles according to you, and what are the capabilities required to overcome these challenges?
This is a combination of both soft and hard skills. Your structure needs to be able to allow that, and your softer skills need to be developed, which focuses on breaking down silos, increases collaboration. None of which is formula driven. I don't think any of us as an organization have cracked it. All of us, as we start to grow, tend to become, it's a very vicious cycle. When you're a small company, you're super collaborative because you're sort of constantly talking to each other, solving problems together, and so on and so forth. The moment you become larger, you tend to become silos, and it's the natural progression of growth because you want, within your team, the ability to make decisions faster, and therefore silos start to become and control decisions, own decisions, so on and so forth. So therefore the silos become a natural extension of it. However, we soon realize that silos are actually not enabling growth. They are a deterrent to growth because one guy doesn't know what the other guy is doing, and therefore there is no synergies that are being developed in the organization. As I said, I think most organizations recognize this problem, Kalpana, and we all know how difficult and damaging it is to the organization. But I don't think, like I said, there's no formula to it that you can say and do it. However, few things that one might want to do. One is identify that there are silos. What are those silos? So, the what we call as consolidate and aggregate. First, identify the silos, determine opportunities to consolidate these systems. Systems that cannot be consolidated can be aggregated and therefore can be probably accessed by a dashboard or portal that allows for this single source of truth. I'm keep going back to the single source of truth because that's critical. And this is the technology part. This is the org structure part. This is the way we sort of set up processes so that it sort of systems capture one source of data and it becomes more collaborative to ensure that. The second part is really changing the company culture. The company culture is the software part. It doesn't easily change because we always think someone else will change. So culturally powered silos must be tackled as an internal initiative. This requires, primarily a lot of things. Free, transparent data usage. Make sure that it becomes a part of your measurement criteria as to how each unit is collaborative and so on and so forth. If we don't do all of those things, then we'll continue to have a very strong system architecture, but a very weak social architecture within the organization, which doesn't force people to collaborate. If you don't do that or your processes don't do that, then it will not be successful.
So, who can benefit from decision intelligence, and where all we can see applications of decision intelligence?
Well, I think your benefits are across the board. You will see this benefit coming across both internal as well as the external part of the organization. You will see this, transforming businesses rather than serving one department or a replacement tool for human roles. Artificial intelligence can actually transform the whole way your product gets developed, the whole way the product gets delivered, and the whole work around what it can be done. I mean, I'm just talking about AI and data analytics, how it will transform businesses, but it will completely transform employee engagement. For example, in our company, we have deployed an AI tool which based on multiple parameters of, you know, um, the time I come to work, the people the engagement I have with the work, etc., is able to tell me a set of things that probably I will need to do if I were to achieve our goal, my personal goal at work. So where is it coming from? It's a lot of AI based data analytics that it comes and tells you. So the opportunity for AI and data analytics is not just business transformation, but complete transformation of the organization.
So the basic idea is that data intelligence is that decisions based on understanding of how actions lead to outcomes. So if you can talk about your outlook on how AI and data analytics will transform businesses and customer lives over the next couple of years.
See, I think, as I said in the previous question as well, that AI and data analytics have the most tremendous power of transforming not just the way we engage with customers or businesses engage with customers, the way businesses engage with their associates, with their employees. So, for example, I could probably be able to, if I deploy a very good AI tool, I should be able to tell whether my product or service is likely to get impacted, or runtime will go down, or it will affect a shutdown way ahead of time, so that customers don't impact any disruptions. We are able to tell them what can happen. I'm going ahead and pitching this, fixing it, so that tomorrow when you're in this usage of this, you don't face a difficulty of a shutdown. So you create a very delightful customer experience with the help of AI, right? It knows you on the basis of behavior. As the second part of it, as I have always maintained, is that AI in employees and AI in the employee segment is a critical factor. If you get that right, then you're able to tell your employees, what do they need to do to be able to achieve their career goals? How can you train them, skill them? How can AI enable us to learn a lot more about the person and the individual, and therefore treat them not as another employee, but as an individual who is part of this organization? That's the power of AI. It can probably connect the dots better than any human being can.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing great insights, and I'm sure our CXO TV audience found it interesting too, with lots of takeaway.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.